Hello, hi everyone. I don't know why I'm doing this as if this is not going on my second channel. Before I begin, I have all of the shirts from one of the My Chemical Romance nights. I will not say which I attended, but if you know, you most definitely know. Look at this. Gino plays, and that's exactly how I feel when I hear it. I just really wanted to wear this for the introduction. I'm not gonna wear this. I'm not over it. I'm not over a lot of things in this lifetime, but I think the most dire thing that I'm not over is my dislike. Does it warrant hate? I don't know. Mordecai from Regular Shore, or as I like to call him, Mordecuck. We're just gonna dive right into it. There's no way for me to do this. There is an accountability problem that is just very present within Mordecai's character. And you can say that for Rigby, you can say that for the same thing, but the thing of it is, not once does Mordecai grow out of that issue. It's always wham me, woe is me, this and that. And it gets to a point where it is the most annoying thing about him. I'm not sure. Sometimes I just gotta wonder, was this character written as a rage bait, or am I genuinely supposed to empathize with this character in some way? I think if you're empathizing with this character past season 2, wrap it up. Why are you with someone if you have unresolved romantic feelings about your ex? Why are you with this poor girl? She didn't deserve that shit. And mind you, I call Mordecai a cuck, but like, she let that shit slide. Me personally, I'm killing your dog. You're not gonna get away with kissing another bitch under the mistletoe on Christmas. How old are you? When someone takes another person back after they've cheated, they like to bring up the cheating every now and then in the relationship. I don't think CJ did that shit. When she took him back, she moved on. You know who couldn't move on? This fucking bastard right here. Just the constant Margaret this. Dude, I think I might actually love Margaret. So many times while watching the show, I just felt like reaching into my screen and turning that fool into fucking fried chicken, grilled chicken, something with chicken. A damn nugget if I have to. I'm just annoyed. He brings something so visceral out of me. And if you've watched this video right here, you'll be like, well, Clarissa, you used to feel differently. Yeah, when I was 10. Things change. I know a lot of Mordecai defenders can't fathom that people can actually change because Mordecai himself has never changed. And that is a character, a cartoon character, mind you, that they be in people's comments just fucking dick riding. Since the beginning of the show, this accountability issue, it's incredibly present. Literally the first episode, The Power, he's the one that threw Rigby. It didn't look like he had a gun to his head to throw Rigby into the trampoline that would later then launch into the wall. And yet, it's all Rigby's fault. A lot of people are like, oh, well, Rigby did this. Rigby fucking ruined his chances of going to college. Rigby did that. He was like that before finding out that Rigby did that. Did Rigby kind of have a lot of this coming? Yeah, but don't act like that's like, that the way that he's acting says nothing about his character, because after all, his friend's a piece of shit. No, it still says a lot about his fucking character. The lack of self-respect that this character has, we don't actually see any growth. We just see him at the end of the series painting these pictures, by the way, just look at these pictures. Hello, I am an artist from Israel. Here's my art. What the fuck is this? Imagine being at your big ass age of over 35 years old, because I'm assuming that's how old he is at this point in time. Literally, there was a whole time skip that happened. You're still drawing art based on the 2 bitches you fucked with in your 20s? That is so sad. And it ain't even good art either. I don't know how he bagged this girl. I don't know. And I also don't care to know that. All I know is whatever he has, he does not deserve that. I never brought this one up before. I never did. But I knew that there was something else. And it has to do with Rigby. They're both not good friends. I will acknowledge that. But Mordecai is significantly a worse friend than Rigby. The episode, and I saw this one creator bring it up. I'm going to just like link the video. I don't know if I could put it in a card or something, but just like he brings up this example, and it's a very, very important example. And I remember how I felt watching the episode, and I was like, this guy's a fucking dick. He sucks. The lift with your back episode. If you don't know, That's the episode. Rigby quits his job to prove that he can make his own paycheck by himself and that he can do things by himself because Mordecai is an unappreciative bastard, and so he goes and works for a moving company. The beginning of the episode, he is constantly asking Rigby to do solids for him, to do work for him, so that he can go hang out with CJ. When they had like a meeting, and so he says, oh, I can do this work or whatever because Benson's assigning jobs, and they laugh at him. And Mordecai's sitting there laughing as well, like he didn't give Rigby his jobs to do. And he's like, why are y'all laughing? I am a very capable person. And then he specifically tells Mordecai, I've been doing your work while you go hang out with CJ. And then he's like, well, I didn't ask you to do that. Do you know what sentence, to me personally, will piss me off the fastest? I'm busting my ass and sacrificing, and you hit me with, I didn't ask you to do that. I never asked you to do that. Just stupid and unappreciative and an asshole. And all of that is being directed towards your friend. Mind you, I didn't ask you to do that. If those things didn't get done, he would have had to have thrown him under the bus. And maybe then he would have gotten fired, even though they've literally never gotten fired. But there would have been consequences. And I highly doubt that Mordecai would have been okay with those potential consequences, you know, had Rigby just not helped out. But he did that because that's his friend. And it's not like he was even asking for anything in return. All he did ask for was that, you know, you acknowledge that I help you out and that I'm not like a fuck up and useless. He couldn't even do that. And I'm supposed to sit here and believe people when they say that Rigby is the worst friend. Let's not forget the episode of Rigby's graduation. The fact that you would even say to a group of people, graduating high school is the least that someone can do. Yeah, that's true. But when your friend is like an all-time fuck up and finally did that thing, you know, mind you, this is supposed to be his best friend, like his day one. You might want to like acknowledge that this is a big deal for him. And what this fool says to him when he finally comes back, because mind you, he ditches his graduation. Like, he needs support. Rigby needs support because he has to go give this speech, you know, and something else. Mordecai is at an outlet trying to pick up his friend's favorite coffee, because if my friend treated me like that, you would be found in a ditch. But when he gets back, right, because he abandons him, he's like, oh, good luck with your graduation. I came all this way to go get you coffee. Which, by the way, they had to force him to go do that. People who don't even know Rigby like that.
High school is like the least a person can accomplish. But it's a big deal for Rigby. I can't believe I have to explain this to him.
He's your best friend, dude.
This is someone that was with Rigby during his entire life. And he's going to sit here and not only just downplay the accomplishment, but then completely walk out on him and refuse to give him support. But then when he comes back, that's not even the worst part, okay? He comes back with a coffee and he says,
it's hard to see you doing so great. I guess I always kind of liked that I was doing better than you before.
Do you know how fast that shit would get you punched in the mouth? And this is supposed to be his friend. I really hate this character. They're both lazy. They're both fuck-ups. But one is significantly worse. And I'm not sure how we were fed the propaganda that the worst one was Rigby. That's just not true. I'm praying that we all know that by now. Officially, we have run out of storage, and that's just fucking great. So now I have to re-record all of this. But as I was saying, when it came to actually writing Mordecai as a character, I guess it's like, no one really needs to change. The most change that Mordecai needed to do was manning up and stop being like a little punk-ass bitch and actually ask Margaret out. Other than that, he does no wrong. Mordecai does no wrong. He doesn't need to grow. He doesn't need to do anything. Everybody else does. I think about this a lot when I talk about Margaret and CJ, or just one of the girls individually, because Margaret had really no character in the first place. There was nothing that indicated that she might even feel the same way. And out of nowhere, when she leaves for college, right? God forbid she leave for college. Oh my gosh, he's gonna die. I don't know what he was expecting, by the way. I really don't know what the expectation was here for her to give up going to college so she could live lavishly in the riches of a fucking park employee. And then she comes back. Meanwhile, he and CJ, they have gotten together at that point, right? And the mistletoe kiss. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. Realistically, Margaret would not have done that. Maybe. in a world in which, you know, they weren't just dating and they were actually something that mattered, like, you know, that was her actual boyfriend for any length of time, but you know that they actually had some form of like long-term history and things, not just these two were fucking and oh my gosh, connections, sparks were flying, then that would have happened. Margaret realistically would not have kissed that man. For some reason, CJ forgives that shit. Personally, I think after that, she should have been given a gun. And he's gonna go fight for that relationship, right? He literally hurts himself trying to get back with CJ just to then tell her he has unresolved feelings. Then guess what? You should not be in a relationship. And not just any unresolved feelings, because I get it. A lot of people are not over their exes in some way. But if you still have any remaining romantic feelings for this person, you should not be dating anyone. Then later on, they're gonna have Margaret have her, you know, have feelings for Mordecai, but he's so locked in on this relationship with CJ. Some bullshit, by the way. Pretend that she's dating one of her co-anchors, and then reveal that to CJ that she's not actually dating him. Reveal that she might have some kind of feelings for Mordecai. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. The most realistic thing, actually, because I was gonna say all that and they don't even get together, but that is the most realistic thing, though. They were not gonna stay together. But the even more realistic, she would have never reciprocated his feelings. Just with the way that she was put into the show and the way that their interactions were for a really long time, and then out of nowhere, she kind of likes him, but he's not saying anything. Oh, and now they're together. Oh, they're not even actually together.
You're single, you dated Mordecai for a while, and you keep trying to hang out with him, even though you don't have to, because it's not like you kept in touch with him after you left.
Sickeningly enough, there's a level of self-awareness in the show.
Do you still have feelings for Mordecai?
I think I do.
What is that? And CJ, I don't think CJ overreacted enough. Like, in terms of how things work in regular show, I don't think she overreacted enough. Mind you, yes, she did cause that, like, that hurricane and stuff, but she actually did care about this individual. A hotel room chair that's next to the bed, that's CJ's chair right there. How could you let that shit happen? And I know how, because she was written to be that way, written to look like she was fucking crazy. She never once, after the fact that, like, oh, you know, they talked it out after he cheated on her, never once did she throw that shit back in his face until he started to be suspicious and hanging out with Margaret again. By the way, you should not be hanging out with your ex, especially one that you had already then cheated on your significant other with. And not even ex, because again, they were never actually together. Oh my god. It's one thing at that point. Like, I'm thinking about it right now. If my man kissed one of his ex-girlfriends, I'd be fucking livid. Someone would have to die at that point. And it's probably not gonna be her. I love you, babe. But if my significant other kissed someone that he only fucked with, you will begin to cough in 3 days. No. She should have been allowed to kill him at that point. They weren't even together. All this over a bitch that he wasn't even with. And again, they didn't even end up together. They were dancing around the whole thing after the fact. Meanwhile, they were painting CJ out to be like a bitter bitch. And it's like, she wasn't angry enough. And the fact that there was never a follow-up with CJ, like, she was just discarded like that. She really was just there for Mordecai's development, literally lack thereof. He didn't grow from that. Actually, if that was gonna be the case, then there was no need for CJ. There was no need for a character to really just be a punching bag at that point. She saved him from death, fucking life, because some terroristic ass fucking redneck ass country boy ass fucking dating app CEO was trying to kill us because, you know, we got together and, you know, his business was relying on my loser ass boyfriend's failed relationships to continue going, and I save you from that fool, and you go and cheat on me, and then I forgive you, and then you go pull that shit. Oh my gosh, no. There's not a pit of hell deep enough for you that it's just going to be an appropriate punishment for the shit that you put me through. I really dislike this character. Really, I do. The entire thing of this character is like, oh my gosh, help, my hand hurts as I'm putting it on a hot stove, and then someone being like, well, lift your hand off of the stove, and being like, nah, I don't think I will. Fuck him. Fuck him. And yeah, that about does it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, all I really do on this bitch is sing and rant, trash ranting. I will never actually get analytical because that's just not me. Like, I that's not me. But do I love to talk? Absolutely. And I'll see you in the next upload.